Welcome to the D Post for All Season Sports Show. I'm Drew Rubenstein here again with Fred Wyant. And Fred, this discussion kind of interests me because it was something we were talking about off the tape, and just the differences in how the media covers WVU football and your experiences with reporters, and that's really what got me thinking along these lines. It's we're not too far away from Big 12 Media Days, which have really become almost like a circus. The mascots for all the schools are there, the cheerleaders are there. You've got representatives from all the teams that are doing as many as probably, I don't even know, 30 to 40 interviews during the course of a day, and it's the Big 12 Conference kind of takes over a hotel in downtown Dallas and just kind of uses all of the ballrooms throughout the hotel for 2 complete days. And then you compare that to what it was like when you were playing, and WVU was very successful, but you really didn't talk to reporters on a very regular basis, did you, when you were a player?
No, Coach Lewis, I always thought was he was such a brilliant statistician, and he would he knew that we were overmatched anytime we talked to you, because he knew.
I don't know about that, but okay.
He knew that you were going to ask a question that if I gave a certain answer to, that you had a different approach on that thing, and now you're going to ask me, and I'm going to be scratching my head type thing. So what he did was, he felt that was a distraction, and he had charge. He was in charge of everything, and so we'd come to, if you wanted to talk to me, you'd go to him. He'd want to know what you wanted to talk about, and then he would maybe let you or maybe not, and he had control. Today, I mean, they've got to go to the Rotary meeting, they've got to go to over here, and that's part of their contract, so that the coaches are used to doing more, and they expect the players, because we've only got 1,080,000 or 1,800,000 people out there, and we didn't make our quota yet, did we? I'm not sure, but I don't think.
But
So the coach would come in, and if you made a mistake or decided that you were now going to be independent, which you're allowed to be in our country, and you're going to do what you wanted to do, you'd be doing it out behind the shed for the rest of the year if you pulled something tricky.
Okay.
Yeah, and that way we never were thinking about anything. Oh, geez, I wish I hadn't said that, or I didn't know I didn't know Drew was going to be that way.
Right.
Yeah.
No, all the different angles, and I mean, today coaches will take certain guys off limits from interviews, or there's certainly the players work with the sports communication staff and before they come up for interviews, and most WVU players are generally made available, but there's certain situations where certain guys just aren't made available to us. But there's also, I think, more of a separation between the team and the media. You were talking about it wasn't uncommon to see reporters there in team meetings.
Well, Coach Lewis had a unique way of dealing with people. So he had certain people, and it was always based on trust.
Okay.
If you came back into the meeting, you were going to be in the meeting, and you heard something that maybe would have been a headline or a small headline, people would have talked about it, and you decided to go out and tell everybody through the news media or radio, whatever it was, and then that'd be your first and last time to be there. And that's the way he did it. It was like the instructors at the school. He called them all over. My instructors, he called them, bring them in there, and say, look, we want to hear from you. Now, he was not asking for us to be given something. He just wanted to know when we weren't doing our job, attending, or weren't studying, in their opinion, and for that, he invited them into his Saturdays. Saturday was always crowded in there with people from all over, and they were people that were trustworthy and that that felt that his idea about the program was good. And the newspaper, I know, talking with Mickey and Tony Constantine and Bill Evans, all those guys, they loved him, and they didn't get into rumors or anything else like that. They were just, I'm trying to think, I don't even think there was one.
It would be, I think most reporters would love to have more of the access that you're talking about, but I think there's a variety of reasons as to why there's more separation, and maybe it's led to more accountability. But you're talking about the message, and you know, if a player gave a quote that was out of line, there would be consequences. Did you ever find yourself in a situation like that? Did you ever did you stick to the company line, or how did you know what the company line was, or did you ever run into any situations, whether comical or serious?
Well, my father, when I came up here, he said, look, when you talk to newspaper people, be nice to them. If they say something good about you, be nice to them. They say something bad about you, be nice to them, and then don't get involved in, because you can't win the battle.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's the way it was, and it wasn't any kind of a problem. And you developed a great relationship with the sports people, and we had some great stories when we were in Jackson's middle of down there with the news people. They got up at 6 o'clock, same as us. Huh. I remember one time they wanted to know who was the best, Bosley or Huff. And Coach Lewis said, well, why don't we just get them down here after supper tomorrow or tonight, and we'll just put them here in the front lawn right in front of the cabin, get your chair, we'll sit and watch them, and you make your own decision. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and he was... and it was it was good for them, because they were, as much as they were teammates, they were also very competitive. Yeah. And great, both of them. So it was that's what he tried to do, and he had great rapport with everybody, because they got to know things, and it was apparently more fun knowing what was going on than it was finding out about something that may or may not be a great story, but would eliminate you from ever being in tight with the rest of us. Right, gotcha. So you never were on guard, if you will, then when the reporters were around. It was just like anybody else that was around your practices at the time, just a very comfortable situation? It always was, and it was a different group. You don't see that anymore. I mean, we laughed and had fun. In 4 years, I never had a single day in college that I ever had a bad day, period. I never had a day where someone ever said something bad to me, called me a name or something. Never in all that time. And I think I told you one time about he would call me back in and say, hey, you got to settle down out there. And I said, what's wrong? Don't you like winning, Coach? And he'd go through his little, yes, I do, but, you know, you've got to. So I would do it for a while, but then it was too tempting not to, because the guys I was with, they were funny, and it was always funny, and that's the way we played. Yeah, and it probably showed up in the way that you were relaxed on game days and I think so. At ease, and probably led to some of the success that you had. Oh, I think it was the whole thing. The whole success that we had was the team. The other thing was that it was so much different is that all of us were from West Virginia and Eastern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania. And Coach Lewis took care of those people. I mean, they were the people that on Saturday they came down there in the buffet line. I knew every guy that was recruiting in Pennsylvania or that would bring players in there, and just we got to be friends and everything. There wasn't anything illegal about that. That was just
Right.
Yeah, it was just a family.
Right.
And he was the...
No, it's fascinating just to
Yeah.
hear how things have changed, and I think people find that interesting, just how it used to be, and then the way things have changed with the way the media now covers teams. But Fred, appreciate your insight once again, and please continue to check theedpost.com. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.